welcome to Crime in Court. My name is Heather, and this is another Murdaugh update. This is actually more about Becky Hill, but it's all connected to Murdaugh, so I'm just putting it all under the Murdaugh saga. So this is an article that was written by Will Folks, and it's an update on the investigation of Becky Hill. February 20th, 24, this was written. All right, so a well-faceted criminal investigation into embattled Colleton County, South Carolina Clerk of Court Becky Hill has picked up significant momentum in recent weeks. Multiple sources familiar with the status of the inquiry confirmed to the media outlet. Among other escalations, Hill now finds herself squarely under investigation for allegedly perjuring herself during her disastrous testimony at last month's evidentiary hearing for convicted killer Alec Murdaugh. Murdaugh's readers will recall is seeking a new trial based on allegations that Hill tampered with a jury that found him guilty of unaliving his wife, 52-year-old Maggie, and younger son, 22-year-old Paul Murdaugh, on the family hunting property in June of 2021. Hill's office managed Murdaugh's double homicide trial in Walterboro, South Carolina from January 23rd through March 3rd of 2023. It was a very long trial. I think it was 6 weeks. I guess that's not very long, but that 6 or 8 weeks, it was only supposed to be 2. But all the financial stuff came in, and then it became much longer. All right, so in fact, she read the guilty verdicts to a waiting world on the evening of March 2nd, 2023. Murdaugh's initial bid for a retrial was shot down last month by former South Carolina Chief Justice Jean Toll, although his attorneys are confident they will prevail on this matter as it enters the appellate phase. And I feel like there is some legs to stand on for their appeal, because one of the jurors just flat out said that, yes, she heard him and yeah, it affected them. But anyways, let's move on. All right, so in the meantime, Hill's situation has grown infinitely more precarious now that she is no longer useful to the state in its bid to sustain the guilty verdicts it won against Murdaugh last winter. So she was the star witness to the case that they needed her for Murdaugh, and now that she's no longer necessary for them, they're not going to be protecting Becky very much. All right, so indeed the appetite for investigating and prosecuting Hill appears to have dramatically increased since the Murdaugh hearing concluded last month. To recap, on the eve of Murdaugh's hearing, our media outlet exclusively reported that Hill's county-issued cell phone, which had been missing for months, had finally been located. The mobile device, a Samsung Galaxy S10e, was discovered on January 23rd, 2024, and immediately reported to the South Carolina State Law Enforcement Divisions, or SLED. So this was just before the hearing, right? What day was the hearing? I can't remember now. I think it was the 25th of January, or maybe it was the 24th. So on the eve of the Murdaugh's hearing. Sorry, I was I read it and then retain it. Okay, so on the eve of Murdaugh's hearing, they found the Samsung phone. We can confirm that this device was collected by SLED agents on January 28, 2024, one day before Murdaugh's retrial hearing. We can also confirm SLED agents obtained search warrant for records related to the phone in the days immediately after the hearing, records which were finally obtained on or about February 12th, 2024. What else? Well, we know now that where the phone was discovered. According to our sources, Hill's mobile device was found in a desk drawer in a county office previously used by her son, former Colleton County Information Technology Director Jeffrey Colt Hill, who is also facing charges for wiretapping. Additionally, we can confirm that this phone, like multiple other devices sought in connection with the ongoing investigation, had been reset to factory settings when it was obtained by investigators. So, completely clearing the phone of all information. Why? What information was on there? What information did you not want people to see? How do all of these pieces connect? Back in November, our Andy Fancher exclusively reported that Jeffrey Hill had been arrested on one count of wiretapping for having, quote, willfully and feloniously intercepted electronic phone communication, end quote. A key component of Fancher's report, the notation that Becky Hill had been, quote, forced to surrender her phone to SLED upon the issuance of a search warrant, end quote, in connection with the wiretapping investigation into her son. Which phone, though? Not the one that they were looking for, it would appear. As previously reported, Jeffrey Hill's wiretapping arrest was reportedly tied to an effort to keep his mother, quote, abreast of the investigations into her conduct, end quote, including a pair of probes launched by the South Carolina State Ethics Commission last summer. So she's got ethics complaints that are being looked into. She's got investigations for wiretapping, misusing money, funds, I can't remember all the other ones, and also now perjury and obstruction of justice for destroying the evidence of the phones and clearing them back to factory reset. All right, so one of the investigations is focused on whether Hill abused her position as clerk of court in an effort to facilitate the publication of her book about the Murdaugh trial, Behind the Doors of Justice, which I really do feel that she wanted a guilty verdict so that she could push her book, because she was working on that. It's proven now that she was working on that behind the scenes as the trial was happening. So our media outlet further linked Becky Hill to the wiretapping investigation into her son, noting SLED investigators were exploring obstruction of justice charges against both Becky Hill and Jeffrey Hill as it relates to the mushrooming wiretapping scandal. So, the return of the missing phone. According to our source, SLED asked for Jeffrey Hill's office to be locked down upon the occasion of his arrest back in November of 2023. And county officials reportedly complied with this request. Not only that, county officials reportedly searched his office prior to locking it, but Becky's phone did not turn up in the initial search. So how did it wind up in Jeffrey Hill's former office 2 months later? Good question. Sources familiar with the status of the inquiry say that the discovery of the missing device is part of an ongoing obstruction of justice inquiry being run by SLED with support from the statewide grand jury, which operates under the auspices of the South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson. So the Attorney General is looking into this, the ongoing obstruction of justice. All right, so as previously reported, the iPhone that Becky Hill surrendered to SLED last fall is not the phone that she used during the trial, nor is it a separate iPhone Hill had been reportedly using since the allegations against her son were made public. Sources familiar with the inquiry said that Becky Hill switched from a Samsung device to an iPhone in the days immediately after she was publicly accused of tampering with the Murdaugh jury. Interesting. So she went from Samsung to iPhone in days within the accusations. However, Jeffrey Hill reportedly told county officials on August 30th, 2023, that his mother's Samsung phone had already been turned into the county, even though Becky Hill was reportedly still using it on the day that the jury tampering allegations were announced a week later. We also previously reported that Becky Hill's county-issued cell phone number was released from its taxpayer-funded Verizon account and added to her personal account in late July 2023. It seems like they're trying to hide something. This, we were told, was part of an effort to dodge a looming subpoena for cell phone records tied to the two investigations, the ethics investigations. So Becky Hill reportedly told ethics investigators on multiple occasions that she did not keep her county-issued Samsung phone after her son transferred the line from the county to her personal account in late July. None of the devices linked to either Becky or Jeffrey Hill have been handed over to the investigators intact. The iPhone that Becky Hill provided to SLED investigators last fall had been reset to its factory settings. Similarly, two phones provided by Jeffrey Hill to SLED, one personal Samsung and another county-issued Samsung, had both reportedly been reset to factory settings. So what are you hiding? Nobody does that. Nobody resets their phone. Alright, so also two other Samsungs belong to Jeffrey Hill. A personal device and a county phone were reportedly destroyed when he first learned SLED wanted to question him in connection with the wiretapping scandal. These evasive measures appear to have taken place at pivotal moments in the evolution of this story. I noted earlier this year, referring to when ethics investigators asked Becky Hill for her cell phone records when Becky Hill was publicly accused of jury tampering, and when her son was contacted by SLED for an interview on the wiretapping allegations. Now, we discover SLED obtained the wiped phone discovered in Jeffrey Hill's office the day before Becky Hill was scheduled to take the stand at Murdaugh's retrial. So yes, we just, all of a sudden, SLED finds this phone right before this hearing. Perjury rap. In addition to the ongoing misconduct and obstruction of investigations, Hill is also the focus of a new line of inquiry: whether she perjured herself on the stand at last month's big hearing. Under grueling questioning from Murdaugh's attorney, Dick Harpootlian, and later from Justice Toll, Hill withered and was exposed as a liar and a fraud. Her credibility was utterly and completely eviscerated on the stand, I noted at the time. Claiming poetic license, Hill admitted to fabricating portions of her book, the same portions of which she previously admitted plagiarizing. But did Hill also lie on the stand? Under questioning from Justice Toll, Hill was repeatedly asked about sealed exhibits, specifically images from the crime scene and from Maggie Murdaugh and Paul Murdaugh's autopsies, and whether she allowed members of the media to view these sensitive records. Did you ever allow anyone from the press to view these sealed exhibits? Toll asked Hill. No, ma'am, she responded. Toll asked the question again as she grilled Hill about her process for safeguarding these graphic images. Were any press people ever allowed to view the exhibits, even the sealed exhibits that you had on file? Toll asked. No, ma'am, Hill responded. According to sources close to the ongoing investigation, SLED agents visited the Colleton County Courthouse on February 14th, 2024, in search of evidence that they believed will prove that Hill lied on the stand. Whoa. So, she lied, apparently, and SLED is looking for evidence to prove that she did. In addition to executing search warrants for key card access to the courtroom and to several of its adjoining chambers, agents reportedly sought security footage from the courthouse. They also reportedly took pictures of rugs and carpets within the building as part of an apparent attempt to tie certain images and videos of sealed exhibits back to Hill. Interesting. They kind of recreated photos and things to see where she was, and yeah, interesting. All right, so according to these sources, Creighton Waters, the lead prosecutor on the Murdaugh case, and the chief attorney for the statewide grand jury will be briefed on the status of SLED's investigations into Hill and her son later this week. So that was last week. As I'm recording this is the 25th of February, Sunday, but this was written on the 20th of February, which was, what day was that? Tuesday of last week. All right, so count on this media outlet to keep our audience in the loop on any new developments related to this and to these ongoing inquiries, and I will also keep you updated on these. I think it's important to stay on top of it, even if it's not all in the national news right now, the things that aren't being reported. Stuff like this is a local news source that has inside sources and inside information that can verify the things that they are saying. So I really like to refer to Fitz News. If you guys watch my channel, I do read a lot of his articles, only because I think that he's got a lot of insider knowledge, and I think it's great. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm really hoping, I'm a new channel, so I'm really hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers soon. So if you could please hit that subscribe button, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.